What's up everyone, my name is Michael and welcome to Box Mining Daily. So today we're going to start off with the market rally. It seems that Bitcoin is pushing to new all-time highs, followed by the altcoins as well. So this is the time where altcoins and Bitcoins are both pushing up at the same time. So we're going to start off with the market analysis and the market rally, followed by news from the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. So they have finally approved that Bitcoin to be listed, Bitcoin futures to be listed on the CME and the CBOE. These are two Chicago-based exchanges that wants to list the futures for Bitcoin. The thing is, before they didn't get the regulatory approval yet, but now that it's finally been approved, a date has been set for the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for December 18th. So this might be news that, of course, that is setting off this rally today. We also have Coinbase. They're hiring dozens of positions, so it seems like they are rapidly trying to expand to cope with their growing customer base and to add additional features onto their exchange. I do want to say that things covered here are my personal opinion and not financial advice. So starting off with the market, first of all, we have Bitcoin back up to 11,121. It's just crazy to see these large figures appearing in Bitcoin yet again. So who's excited for Bitcoin? Well, it seems like the whole world and especially Korea. So yet again, we see Koreans paying almost $1,000 more for Bitcoin. That is because they're a bit more closed off over there and currency transfers in and out of Korea is a little bit more difficult, and that's why arbitrage is a little bit slower. That's why they're paying almost $1,000 more for the price of Bitcoin. We also have Ethereum continuing its rally. It's at $470, so it's a little bit shy of the 500. We've seen 500 before, so for Ethereum is trying to test for its limits at 500 again. Major growth on Bitcoin Cash, 1,475 with an 11% increase, and of course we can't forget Litecoin. Litecoin has crossed the $100 mark today with a 20% growth. This has been a recovery, so it did drop quite a bit, but it's almost a full recovery and more for the price of Litecoin. Lots of trading volume on GDEX, Bitfinex, and of course some Korean exchange volume as well. In terms of other alts, we have IOTA growing double digits, Cardano, Ethereum Classic, NEM, EOS, Stellar Lumens, of course, and all the way down the list, we have just a lot of green. I mean, if you can see it, it's just a whole page of green right now because the market is extremely excited for cryptocurrencies and the future of crypto. We definitely have the Walton community being very excited for the Guardian Masternode, so they're continuing that push up with 27% growth today. And I've been watching Raiden Network a bit. I've heard rumors that they're partnering up with Smart and Charge in Germany, so they're trying to use the Raiden network instead of the Ethereum network for microtransactions, especially when it comes to small transactions like this. The Raiden network provides a way to scale this very much similar to what Lightning is on the Bitcoin network. So these are definitely topics I want to cover in the future, and ADA coin, Cardano as well. So definitely a lot on my list next week, and the Walton video is coming out on Monday. So starting off with the news, the official statement from the US Commodities Futures Trading Commission states that, well, they have accepted the listing for the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and CBOE Futures Exchange for the self-certified Bitcoin contracts. So this means that institutional money can come into the Bitcoin space. Of course, it's in the form of futures, and I think there were a lot of people who are very worried about this because, of course, with futures trading, people, potential institutions can potentially try to crash the Bitcoin market and make a gain from that if you have a short order in Bitcoin. But I do have to say that whilst institutions can do this, there might be other institutions that want to buy and push up Bitcoin too. The final date for when it gets listed on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is on December the 18th. So this was the date that was finalized and given. Previously, they gave sometime in December as the date, but now it's been officially finalized, and this is news from the Business Insider. We also have Coinbase. They're hiring a lot of positions in New York, San Francisco, and London. This is because, of course, there's a huge growth in the number of Coinbase users, and there's a huge demand for Coinbase features like SegWit. So definitely a lot of engineering positions and payment handling brokerage platform. A lot of positions are online and on Coinbase. So definitely lots of growth in this field. This whole industry, this
ホームページ自分で作ってみませんか？ Wix なら素敵なホームページを簡単に作成できます。個人ビジネスからアーティストまで。
Hey guys, I wanted to thank our sponsors GameFlip ICO, where you can get paid to play video games. Check out their token sale page for more information and a chance to win $1,000 in GameFlip tokens by signing up for their newsletter. Their ICO starts on December 4th and runs until January 29th.
What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing all right. Hope everyone could hear me well. I do hope this is working all right. Cool. All right, I think we're live. All right, cool. Hello. How's everyone doing today? Bitcoin is doing great as usual. I feel like we just keep breaking through all-time highs. It's just no sort of sell signal whatsoever. EOS doing amazing. EOS doing absolutely fantastic. Cannot be happier with EOS. Still for a year-long ICO, could not be happier with EOS. I did buy a little bit high, but it is what it is. We'll see if it all pans out. I really hope it pans out. What coins are you holding? We'll get to that. Don't worry. Let's go to the Bitcoin. Actually, let's go to Bitcoin. Actually, hold on. Let me just fix something here. Guys. I'm just fixing something here. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Got my Dragon Chain. Yeah. Disney developers. I heard. Dragon Chain. Lots of good things with Disney. But let's look at Bitcoin first and see what's going on there. So we are in the 4-hour, and we are still hitting that top resistance. It doesn't look much different from earlier, and I definitely thought we were gonna hit that top and then dip right back low, but it seems that we're consolidating right at that 11,000 mark, which is impressive to say the least. The hourly looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. It looks like a pretty good time to buy, actually, at 11,000. Who would have thought that? Good time, a buy signal on the wave trend cross. A buy. Actually, let me increase this style. It should be a line. So, and we're gonna nice bright green and nice bright red. Okay. There you go. Hopefully you guys can see that better. I was watching the stream last night and I was like, my viewers can't watch. My viewers can't see anything. I mean, it was just so hard to see. Let's see if we could get those circles bigger too. Hold on. Aha, I knew I could get those circles bigger. Let's see. All right. That's much better, right, guys? So we're looking at these buy signals, and we're looking at these sell signals. These dark red are sell. Bright green circles are buy. And we're going to save this because this is good stuff, okay? All right, so we're looking at these signals. And on the hourly, it's looking like we're still going up. We just hit a buy signal around 11 o'clock, so 3 hours today. 3 hours ago, we hit a buy signal, and we are still headed up, allegedly. That's exactly how we're looking. 30-minute is not looking too great, actually. So maybe not quite a buy for Bitcoin at 11,000. I mean, that's high as hell, guys. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Welcome. Thank you to all my loyal viewers. And yeah, I'm live. I'm gonna try to get go live maybe earlier. I don't know what time it works best. Sometimes the late streams do a little better, and people enjoy the late streams a little better. And sometimes these day streams are okay. But yeah, leave some feedback. I do leave that. I do read that live chat. Definitely super interactive stream. I like to going on. I love to hear what you guys are thinking. You know, no one knows everything, right? And I love to hear your feedback. So I really appreciate you guys joining me live. All right, so we're gonna keep checking this out. Bitcoin still looking like 11,000 we're consolidating around there. We're hitting at a low signal on the 30-minute. Actually looking pretty decent here. Even on the hourly, we're looking pretty decent here. Looking like we may bottom out, and I really hope we can push through all-time highs, because as soon as we can push through all-time highs, those walls and those orders are still being broken down. So let me tell you how we're going through. Actually, before we do that, let's go to youtube.com/cryptosomniac. Super fast speed we got going on here. Okay. All right. I think this is us here. So I'm gonna post this on our Facebook page. I'm gonna post this on our Facebook page right now, live, so everyone can see. Because I think I screwed up yesterday. Hold on. Is Bitcoin slowing down? Now, if you go to our Facebook page, not the Facebook group, but the Facebook page, you share this image, or you share this post here, and you'll be eligible to enter to win some free Kyber. I mean, who doesn't love Kyber? So go ahead and do that, and let's get back to the charts. I don't want to take up too much of your time, shilling my own shit. So let's just keep going through the charts here. So hourly looks pretty good, without a doubt, and we're actually going to go to gdax.com. Down. Now, if you go to our Facebook page, not the Facebook group, but the Facebook page, you share this image, or you share this post here, and you'll be eligible to enter to win some free Kyber. I mean, who doesn't love Kyber? So go ahead and do that, and let's get back to the charts. I don't want to take up too much of your time, shilling my own shit. So let's just keep going through the charts here. So hourly looks pretty good, without a doubt, and we're actually going to go to gdax.com. All right, VeChain is starting its run. Fantastic. Yeah, we love VeChain here. Go check out the VeChain video and the VeChain corrections video, because those are both pretty good videos. Sam made both of those. Did a lot of research. Obviously not good enough, so we made a VeChain corrections video. Go check those out. Really good information. Nice little descriptor about what's going on with the markets, with the VeChain markets, and what's going on with Walton, and if it's a good buy or not. So we're seeing some tremendous sell walls and tremendous buy walls. I mean, it's looking like we'll never get below 10,000, but anything could happen. Let's look at these walls. Yeah, I mean, these walls are slowly going to get chipped away here. They're slowly getting chipped away as we boost higher and higher into these all-time highs. I mean, and as soon as some of these orders, you have to think that a lot of these people, like back here or in this 11, 12,000 region, they set stop losses or take profits, right? So that's really why I like to look at these order books, because as you're breaking through all-time highs, some of these historical precedences that people set, like I've set one for VeChain that if it ever gets under like 450, I sell. I'm not looking at not VeChain, sorry, Vertcoin, and if I ever sell, even if I'm looking at it or I'm not looking at it, it'll take profits for me. And a lot of people do that with Bitcoin. A lot of people do that with Ethereum. There's a lot of orders already being input here in GDAX. So it is good to look at these order books, and that's why we use order books here. All right. So now we're going to go through your comments and questions. If you want me to go through any coins, let me know, guys. I don't know what you guys want to know, but do check out CryptoSomniac. I'm going to go to CryptoSomniac right now. That's the troll box. That's a public chat room troll box. Okay.
Hey, what is happening? It is Crypto Bobby, and today I want to take a look at some of the things that have happened in the past 24, 48 hours when it comes down to crypto, as well as some of the things that are going on over the month of December that I think could have some pretty significant price impacts in ways in which I'm looking to develop I would say, more refined investing strategy in the crypto world going into 2018, because I think you can have a specific investment thesis or a strategy that can work really well for quite a bit of time, but the crypto market can change really quickly, and it's important to try to study and learn as much as possible from a variety of sources. And that's really what I'm doing right now, is trying to stay as educated as possible in this sector to figure out kind of what the best places to potentially put my money are, if it's large cap cryptocurrencies, if it's mid cap cryptocurrencies, if it's exclusively in something like Bitcoin and Ethereum, or if it's better off making these smaller bets in some of these smaller altcoins. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today, as well as how I think potentially the events that are happening in December might impact some things moving forward. So let's get into it. And if you are new to the channel by any chance, hit the subscribe button, the little notify bell. Next to that, I do daily videos on the subject of cryptocurrency, as well as a few times a week, I'll hop into YouTube Live and do what I call Crypto Happy Hour. Just hang out, have some drinks, whether it's water, beer, whiskey, wine, whatever. Have some drinks, talk to you guys about what's going on in the crypto world, usually weeknights between like 8 and 9 p.m. or so. So if you are new, hit that subscribe and the little notify bell next to that. If you've been around for the Crypto Happy Hours and everything else, always appreciate it, and thank you guys so much. But hopping into it right now today, looking at on-chain FX and pulling up and sorting by the up to something like maybe 13 cents, and not necessarily that
What's up, guys? This is Carter Thomas with Coin Mastery TV, TGIF edition, always on Fridays. Make sure you go to coinmastery.com/invest to get on the newsletter list, and you get some free PDFs about dollar cost averaging, how to get involved, some kind of introductory strategies. It's proven to be very helpful for the people that have downloaded it. So if you're just getting started or want to be a part of this, go check it out. Today we're talking about Bitcoin's bounce back, so to speak. We're going to talk a little bit about altcoins, talk about the futures markets, a little bit of news that's happening, and then I want to talk about a meetup I went to with Stellar Lumens and Neo, the founders, last night. And then I want to close with a little bit about mindset / psychological implications of where we're going, and also how to really kill it over the next 12 months, which I think is going to be an ongoing theme, as it always is. But let's kick it off. Let's look at this. Right around last night, we started to see this mini pullback. It's not really a huge pullback in the grand scheme of things, even though it may feel like it. We started to see a big surge in volume. And I think that the big catalyst for this has been a few things, right? We'll just jump into it. The CME finally came out and said that the date that they're going to do futures trading is going to be December 18th. So now we have a clear date, which is really interesting that they're doing this right before the holidays. So, you guys know this channel. We go macro into micro. So you see a piece of news like this, and I think about, all right, what's the big, how is this affecting people in general? What's the psychological sentiment around this? So December 18th, people are starting to wind down in the traditional financial markets. People are starting to be like, we're planning our holiday party. Maybe we're going home, whatever it may be. But now they are going to be going into the holidays, or at least people in the CME, with the ability to drive futures markets into Bitcoin. Now, if you don't know what that means, it means you can either bet that it's going up or going down. You can go long, go short. And it's settled off the Bitcoin market. So they're not actually buying Bitcoin. They're buying it's like a new cash market, and they can buy, it just pegs itself to the price of Bitcoin. So the timing of this is going to be really interesting since it's at the end of the year. A lot of people are going to be busy. So that's one thing to keep in mind, right? Like, we looked at Thanksgiving, and we had all these people that sat around Thanksgiving, at least in the United States. This is what happened. Everyone sat around. A lot of people signed up, saw this huge surge. Now we're going to have a second round of the holidays that's also being fueled by the futures markets. Does not necessarily mean it's going to be going up. It just means that there's going to be a lot more activity around it. Now, if it does go up, that's going to be ridiculous gasoline on the fire. But I'm really interested in the timing. But most importantly, that's what seemingly drove this. There was also a big TV show on last night called Big Bang Theory, which had an episode about Bitcoin. I didn't watch it. I heard it wasn't very good, to be perfectly honest. I don't think that drove this kind of action. I think it was more the futures market. And the other thing that happened yesterday was that the White House got asked about Bitcoin. And what was really interesting is that their response was that, yeah, we're looking into this. And the person who brought this up is the director of Homeland Security, which is kind of, it's good that they mentioned it, but it's also like, are they looking at this through the lens of Homeland Security as though Bitcoin is some sort of threat to Homeland Security? Which, who knows what that means. But it did get some press. Mike Novogratz got pulled onto Fox News and he got interviewed. You can go watch it. But people are starting to talk about this. I mean, as everybody's talking about this. The Google trends are through the roof. It's the most trending terms on the App Store. I mean, this is like full out, things are happening. And what I think we're seeing, at least from my perspective, is that, we saw the run. We saw a bit of a pullback. We saw a lot of buying activity. People bought the very small dip. And we're just seeing this ongoing support level coming from these hundreds of thousands of people that are signing up for new wallets. I'm sure that a lot of you are getting Facebook messages, emails, questions, people just calling you, texting you, saying like, hey, what's this Bitcoin thing? What should I do? How should I get started? That keeping this price propped up. And then when you get a little bit of news like the futures market, you can get a big bounce because it doesn't have a lot of negative sentiment to keep it pushed down. I was talking to some folks last night at the event, and I think one thing that I see a lot of that
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Altcoin Buzz. Today we are going to talk about one of the most interesting cryptocurrency tokens out there. It should be on your radar if it's not already, and that is the very unique IOTA.
Nowadays, there are multiple marketing platforms available. Most use ineffective schemes where you pay for target
IOTA more in detail. So the economy of things. As the Internet of Things keeps expanding, the need for interoperability and sharing of resources become a necessity. IOTA enables companies to explore new business-to-business models by making every technological resource a potential service to be traded on an open market in real time with no fees. So let's keep moving. Ledger of Things. In this new autonomous machine economy, IOTA will be the backbone. The Tangle Ledger is able to settle transactions with zero fees so devices can trade exact amounts of resources on demand, as well as store data for sensors and data loggers securely and verified on the Tangle Ledger. If you're into autonomous vehicles, for example, you know that sensors and this kind of technology are very interesting just for autonomous vehicles. Being that I'm a huge fan of the technology behind autonomous vehicles because I've seen what autonomy has done for air travel, for example. To be able to eliminate human error from travel on the scale of automobiles is very revolutionary. I know a lot of people in the older generations in particular do not trust autonomy, but if you just look at air travel, for example, ever since they've removed the human error potential from air travel, militarily and commercially, it has done great things to improve things. So the main innovation behind IOTA is the Tangle, a revolutionary new blockless distributed ledger which is scalable, lightweight, and for the first time ever makes it possible to transfer value without any fees. In an era where Bitcoin fees are sky high, something like this is really innovative, especially being that it's not even the blockchain. Contrary to today's blockchains, consensus is no longer decoupled but instead an intrinsic part of the system, leading to decentralized and self-regulating peer-to-peer networks. So read the white paper for these.
And so obviously the discussion point today is going to be IOTA. So the way that I structured this presentation is that it's more focused on what IOTA is and how it works and how it's actually different from a blockchain. And so this is not really about our ecosystem or the corporate partnerships that we have ongoing. And it's more about to give you guys a concrete understanding of how IOTA works and so that you can better also assess its potential. And in the end, I will discuss some use case that we're currently working on. Now, this is more a technology discussion for now. So a quick introduction about myself, actually. So I'm one of the co-founders of IOTA, and currently with David, I lead the non-profit foundation, which is being set up in Germany. And so I've been for 5 years in this blockchain space. I started out in 2011. I actually started out with mining, quite ironically. And then with the money that I made, I had a few blockchain startups, most prominently one in Switzerland, where I helped build this crypto valley in Zug, which is now kind of the mecca for ICOs. And kind of probably the most important aspect about myself is that I'm not delusional, because you guys probably know this blockchain space is incredibly hyped. And there's too much bullshit going on right now. And I argue that really myself and the IOTA team in general is very pragmatic and focused on delivering and actually building real life products that get adopted. So let's jump right into it. So the main thing that really excites all of us here, I guess, is this intersection of blockchain and the Internet of Things. Because obviously the Internet of Things is this ubiquitous computing platform where all of our devices are connected. But the thing is, IoT is still not there yet, because we still have huge issues to solve prominently, most notably the security of things. Because you probably know or you're probably aware of some of the DDoS attacks that recently happened, where some webcams, I think a few 100,000 webcams were simply hacked and then used to DDoS websites. And it is just a huge threat if you think about IoT really growing exponentially and billions of devices being connected. And the same actually applies to blockchain, because by the way, just for reference, I mostly use blockchain and distributed ledger interchangeably, simply because they're kind of the same, but blockchain is obviously more specifically focused on a subsection of distributed ledgers. But I'll try to use DLT as an acronym. But when it comes to blockchain, obviously blockchain is also not there yet. So we have some big issues to resolve, most notably scalability and transaction fees. And as you've probably noticed what happened with Bitcoin lately, that is not really a way to solve scalability. Like there's still a lot of research to be done, especially when it comes to transaction fees, because I would argue that aside from scalability is one of the biggest bottlenecks of any blockchain out there today. And obviously when it comes to this intersection of enabling blockchain and IoT to marry together, we have some specific hardware requirements, because IoT is all about resource constricted environments. And blockchain, as you probably know, I think the Bitcoin database is now more than 120 gigabytes, and Ethereum is getting close to 200 gigabytes. So that really doesn't fit into this realm of IoT. And so knowing that and having the background that we had, because the four founders behind IOTA have been in this blockchain space since 2010, 2011. And for example, Sergey Vancheglo, or more commonly known as Come From Beyond, actually developed the first full proof of stake implementation with NXT. So we are quite pioneers in this space as well. And with this knowledge and this wisdom, if you can call it, that we've accumulated over the years, we started working on a completely new architecture. And that was back in 2015. When we realized, hey, this IoT and blockchain really makes a lot of sense, but blockchain, the architecture itself is simply not suited for it. And exactly because of that, we've developed the Tangle. And so how does IOTA actually work? So the main innovation behind IOTA is the Tangle. So you can see the Tangle as a completely different architecture compared to a blockchain. We always joke that the Tangle is a blockchain without the blocks and without a chain. So if we discuss semantics, it's not really a blockchain, but it's really a distributed ledger. So one thing that you have to keep in mind about IOTA and about the Tangle is that it's still the same principles still apply. So the Tangle is still decentralized, it's still a peer-to-peer network, it's still an append-only database, and it still has some way to achieve consensus. And so with that background wisdom, let's jump into how the Tangle actually works. So when it comes to IOTA versus blockchain, there are two main differences that I would like to emphasize. The first one is the database structure, and the second one is the consensus approach. So when it comes to the database structure, obviously a blockchain is a sequential chain. We have block after block after block where transactions are aggregated into a block and then continuously appended and confirmed in a certain periodic time. So for example, in Bitcoin, every 10 minutes, we get a new block. Or in Ethereum, roughly every 20 seconds, we get a new block. This means that we have those cycles in the blockchain. And when it comes to IOTA, we no longer have those blocks and we no longer have this chain. But what you see here is really independent transactions. So each block here is a transaction. And as you see, those transactions are really interlinked. So one transaction references two past transactions directly, but it also indirectly references this entire subtangle here. And obviously, instead of calling this a blockchain and instead of calling this sequential graph, sequential chain, IOTA is a directed acyclic graph. And if you, for example, know Git, IOTA has a similar structure like that. For those of you that want to dive into more technical details, you can also read our white paper. And obviously the second distinction of IOTA versus blockchain is the consensus approach. The way that it works in a blockchain is that you have those miners. So those miners are kind of special users. And what they do is they race against each other to secure the blockchain, basically to find the next block, to get the mining reward, and through that to then validate the transactions and to build the block, obviously. But this means that the majority of the network is not actively participating in the consensus. And instead, when it comes to blockchain, the consensus is decoupled from the transaction making process, which obviously brings with it quite a lot of disadvantages, because now those miners are kind of the gatekeepers of the blockchain, and they can also arbitrarily obviously increase transaction fees. Like for example, what you see with Bitcoin and their spamming, that is also miners deliberately doing it because they have the power to not have to worry about too high of a cost for this spamming, simply because they can confirm their own blocks and get the transaction fees from that. So that's quite risky if you think about securing a completely global and decentralized network. So when it comes to IOTA, we always say that IOTA, in IOTA, the transaction making process and the consensus is no longer decoupled, but it's an intrinsic property of the protocol. So what this means then is that IOTA no longer has miners, but instead every network participant that executes a transaction actively participates in securing and in securing transactions and in validating transactions. So how does this transaction making process actually look like? So it's basically 3 steps. The first step is obviously that you sign a transaction. And this step can be done by any tiny IoT device. We already have some prototypes for some EC cards that you can simply swipe and it instantly signs the transaction and then sends it off to the merchant. The second step is the tip selection. So the tip selection is one of the most crucial components of IOTA because it's really there to determine the security of the whole system. So the tip selection, just for reference for you guys, a tip in IOTA is an unconfirmed transaction. So those gray blocks here, they are tips, basically. And the tip selection algorithm utilizes Markov chain Monte Carlo, MCMC, to randomly select 2 transactions in this graph that you're going to validate. And part of this tip selection process is then obviously also the validation. And what this validation means is basically you check the signatures of the transactions, you check if it's according to the protocol's specification, and most importantly, you check this entire graph if there's any double spend. So let's say that we are attesting to these 2 transactions, then we're checking this subsection of the tangle to check if there's any conflicting transaction. If there is a conflicting transaction, by protocol, we are disincentivized to validate these transactions, because if you validate invalid double spends, for example, someone else will come along and they will no longer confirm your transaction. And as such, you have this incentive, if we can call it, of being honest, of not being honest in that sense. So really, you're really incentivized by the protocol to act honestly and to validate valid transactions. And that's it, basically. So it's as simple as that. So the last step, apart from the validation, is then a proof of work. And this work is cannot really be compared to
Growing global awareness that we have to act now is driving huge investment in new innovations focused.
Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. As per usual, I will be going over my normal schedule of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, Neo, Vertcoin, Monero, Omesigo, and Lisk. All of those in a more detailed technical analysis on TradingView in just a second. If you haven't purchased cryptocurrencies yet, go check out Coinbase. I have a referral link in the description where you can get $10 free when you sign up. And let me go ahead and update you all on what's been going on, with the general market and the altcoins. So we're seeing a little bit of a pullback / consolidation for, a lot of the bigger cryptocurrencies. As far as some of the other altcoins go, EOS is doing pretty well, up 20%. We've got NXT. I'm not sure what this cryptocurrency is all about, but it's up 70%. So pretty big move today for that one. Ardor up 20%, and Vertcoin actually doing really well here. I hadn't spotted that, so it looks like it's actually fully breaking out. That's actually a pretty interesting move. Now, I won't spend too much time. Like I said, it seems like there's a bit of consolidation, and I'll talk about that more. But we did see a bit of a double top for, Litecoin especially, and even a bit Bitcoin, which could either mean that we're going to see a bit of consolidation here, or maybe, the pullback that I've been calling for could come into play at this point. So I'm going to go over all those levels, and of course I'll talk about the pretty big Bitcoin breakout actually. So as you can see, Bitcoin, now 2 days in a row here with some pretty flat doji candlesticks. They are green candlesticks, which is better than if they were red, but it is, a signal at this point that we could see a bit of a pullback or, consolidation. Now, as far as the indicators go, we're still uptrending on the MACD. RSI still looking okay, but we are pretty high up on both of those indicators. And, we do have now decreasing buying volume for about 4 days now. So that's, not a good sign, and I think we're going to get our first red day here. Probably a little bit of a pullback or consolidation. If it starts dropping more, of course, we're going to look for a bounce first off this uptrend line right over here, and we'll see how it acts around that. But I do expect it to move lower, in the next day or two at this point. And will we see the bigger pullback that I've been calling for? It's definitely possible. Like I said, what I'm looking at is, are we going to be able to break above this previous high, our current all-time high basically, which is $11,395, right? If we're able to break above that and hold above that, then, we're pretty much making higher lows, higher highs, so the uptrend is fully in motion. But if we're not able to do that and we start moving lower, then we have to be concerned for a bit of a pullback / maybe a small downtrend where we could drop to some of the lower levels, right? For now, though, it's a bit early to tell. Like I said, it looks like just a bit of consolidation or a bit of a pullback, but it's really that high that we want to see a break above before we're out of the woods, I would say. And let's go over to Ethereum now, talk a lot as well about Litecoin, because it did have even more of a double top. Bitcoin didn't make it to the previous all-time high, so it's not officially a double top, but it did not manage to go and reach those levels. However, Litecoin did manage to reach its higher levels, but pull back down from that. So let's see. Let's start with Ethereum. And Ethereum, flat doji candlestick here. Not, the most concerning sign, because it's in a little bit of a different scenario than Litecoin and Vertcoin. It already had a pretty big pullback. It bounced a bit. And now it's kind of just testing this uptrend line right over here, right? So we just kind of have to wait and see what it wants to do. Could it bounce off that? Of course. It could also, move lower, maybe come back and test the $430 cent area. There's not much support, to be honest. So it really depends. It did already test that once, which is good. And at this point, it's kind of going to base itself on how much strength there is in the crypto markets, right? If we see everything start moving lower, Ethereum will probably take a little bit of a hit as well. And other than that, if it does have some more strength, maybe it can even go back and test that $500 mark. But for now, it's an indecisive candlestick, which is a doji candlestick. As far as the indicators go, we are moving lower on the MACD. We're probably going to get a test of the orange line, see if we can get a bounce off that. And we are also starting to trickle down lower on the histogram as well. RSI, kind of playing around with the downtrend line at this point. So we'll see if we'll get a break below that. And time will tell at this point for Ethereum. These doji candlesticks are also known as indecisive candlesticks, which means that it can kind of go either way, right? So on to Litecoin now, which, like I said, had a little bit of a more concerning double top formation, unfortunately. And the good thing is that we did actually manage to move higher than the previous high, which is a good sign. Previous high was 103.54, and we went as high as 104.75. So that is a good thing. But, it pulled back pretty strongly from that, right? We have a long upper wick, which means that the buyers weren't able to sustain those prices. So we did get an inverse hammer candlestick, which is a bearish candlestick. And, from there, it looks like we're going to consolidate a bit. For now, we have not broken back below this 90, about 98.10 cent area, which is kind of our support level right now. And we'll see if we'll break below that. That'll probably send us down to, the high of this candlestick, which is 94.88. I'm actually going to go ahead and put in a horizontal line over here so you can get an idea. So if we are going to break below that low of 98.10, we're probably going to go and test the previous, our next support level, which is going to be 94.88. And at this point, is that looking likely? like I said, we're just going to have to wait and see if it breaks through this. But we're either going to get some consolidation, I would say, or we are going to pull back to that $94 mark. And from there, hopefully we can get some kind of stronger bounce. But we are pretty far away from the uptrend line, unfortunately. We should definitely get a bounce off the uptrend line, but it is pretty far away. So, like I said, I've kind of been expecting a drop, and now we're seeing some consolidation / some topping candlesticks. So that's obviously not the best sign. As far as the MACD goes, still uptrending. RSI though moving a bit lower here. I'll go ahead and put in a little bit of a downtrend line that we have in the making. So that's going to be this line right here, and a little bit of a symmetrical triangle even right now for the RSI. We'll see to which side that breaks. But I'm not a big fan of this double top formation and the inverse Hamel candlestick here that we got for Litecoin. Now moving over to Ripple.
Waiting for your digital currency transactions to be confirmed is a drag.
We got for Litecoin. Now moving over to Ripple. Let's see what's been going on with Ripple. So Ripple down slightly, still holding above the middle band, the brown line right over here, currently sitting at 23 cents. That should act as some pretty strong support. Unfortunately, we did cross over the orange line on the MACD, obviously a bearish signal, and a bit of a downtrend should start now on the MACD. We turn negative on the histogram. RSI not really doing much. At this point, we'll want to see if we can hold above the uptrend line right over here, get a bounce. I mean, we're still holding the middle band. If we fall lower, we're either going to get a bounce off, the downtrend line / this uptrend line right over here, or just maybe going to get some consolidation. Right now, we're pretty much in the center of the upper Bollinger Band and the lower Bollinger Band, so that's completely possible as well. And, it makes sense. I mean, Ripple likes to consolidate, right? Just look over here. It consolidated for quite a bit in this 20-cent area, and it already has been consolidating now for a while in this 24-cent area. So that would be, a normal kind of price action for Ripple. Not bad price action. It's just consolidation, right? Let's go over to NEO, see what's been going on with that. And NEO, pretty flat candlestick today, up 0.44%. Now, we are moving lower on the histogram, very similar move to over here, it looks like. So just take a look at what it did over here, nothing too drastic, just moved to some, lower support levels and kind of just consolidated for a bit. So that's definitely something that we could see over here, maybe a bit of consolidation in this $34 mark could be pretty feasible at this point, especially considering that we have the uptrend line that should serve as some good support. So I would expect a bit of consolidation here until we get closer to the uptrend line, which should serve as some, upward momentum and support. We are facing resistance at the middle band, currently sitting at 35.59. This is the brown line right over here. So that's our, primary resistance level right now. And we are once again in the middle of the two Bollinger Bands, right? So consolidation does seem likely here for NEO until it gets closer to the uptrend line, at which point it could find some support there. But really going to have to pay attention to the MACD, see if we can get some kind of bounce or flattening before we can really see that it's going to start kicking back up in price, right? So it looks like for a lot of these altcoins and cryptos, some consolidation at the least, maybe even some pullback. Vertcoin though might be the only exception. Now, I believe Vertcoin had some halvening news. People have been talking to me about that, so that definitely could have made the price bounce. And, I'm not keeping up with all the news on Vertcoin, but no matter what, this move is, very bullish. Now, what happened here is we actually broke above the previous all-time high, $7.23. I've been calling for this for a while. Of course, I knew that it was going to consolidate a bit. That's what happened. And we finally are moving higher. It actually really took off here. So the main support level, is going to be the previous all-time high, which is the $7.28 mark. Sorry, 21 cents it looks like. I'm not saying we're going to come back and test that right away, right? At this point, it is pretty much in full breakout mode. We are trading very high above the upper Bollinger Band. That is something to be aware of. So, those are hard prices to sustain. If we come back and get a pullback to the previous all-time high, that'll be completely healthy, good pullback, and nothing really to worry about. But overall, this move is very significant, right? This should really put a lot of strength into Vertcoin. And really, now sky's the limit, right? There's no previous resistance levels. It's just to where the buyers buy it up. We put in a high today of $8.23, so obviously we'll want to break above that again. But I can see this, it may not happen in a straight line, of course, but it should move pretty quickly near $10, and we should see a test of that relatively soon, right? Like I said, it probably won't be in one shot, but now that we broke above this final resistance levels, at $7.21, we're really not that far away from $10. So I will be expecting Vertcoin to test that, sometime in the near future. As far as the RSI goes, nothing really much to say. It's trading above the 70 line, which is good. Pretty much just fully took off on the MACD and histogram here. And yeah, I mean, like I said, maybe we'll get a little bit of pullback just because we're trading pretty high above the upper Bollinger Band. But overall, this should be the start of a move towards $10, right? Very bullish on Vertcoin. Really happy to see that it's holding its, uptrend and its bullish momentum here. Really good sign overall. And, I think that it's probably one of the best altcoins out there. I've said this before, but it really is performing better than most at this point. Now, let's see what's been going on with Monero. So, looks like Monero is also getting a little bit of a topping candlestick, doji candlestick here. Still hasn't come back and tested the uptrend line. Actually bounced off our support level over here at 196.76. So that's a good sign, hopefully it can hold above that, consolidate in that area. We are still making higher lows and higher highs, which is a good sign. It could go either ways here, maybe we could see it climb slowly higher, or it could consolidate, or we're going to come back and test the uptrend line. I am pretty bullish though overall for Monero, and I don't think we'll get some kind of, major drop. It looks like this uptrend line is pretty sturdy right now, and just look at how well it bounced off in the past. It seems to be holding, and until we break through that, there's really no reason to be bearish on it. MACD looking great, obviously replicating the nice uptrend that we have with the price. Nothing really much to say about the histogram, and as far as the RSI goes, we still are trading above the 70 line. So Monero, although it is, not making a big move today, it's still holding up pretty well, right? Going over to Omise Go now, and then finally our last cryptocurrency, which is going to be Lisk. So let's see what's been going on with Omise Go. Looks like it's actually not doing too bad today, up almost 4%, and really getting closer to this $9.86, let's see, $9.83 resistance level. I've been talking about this for a while. I saw that once we got the bounce here, I could tell that we were going to come and test this pretty quickly. That's what it looks like is going to happen. So I think we're going to be able to break above that finally in the next few days and be in this range, at around $10. That's going to be basically the new range to pay attention to, right? The next big resistance level at least is going to be that $11.65 mark. So definitely, repairing a lot of the technical damage, finally getting a beginning of a bit of an uptrend as far as the middle band goes, and even as far as the price, we're finally starting to move back in a clear upwards direction after this pretty long downtrend. So that's a very good sign. RSI looking pretty good here, back above the uptrend line, and MACD still moving upwards. So looking pretty good here for Omise Go. Actually, it was struggling for a while, but it's finally starting to regain some momentum and strength, and really, beginning to uptrend again. So I'm looking excited to see how much strength we'll see in the near future. But let's see what's been going on with Lisk. And looks like it's up about 1.5% today. Bounced off the support level over here at $7.63. So we will face resistance at this middle band right over here. The brown line currently sitting at $8.15. RSI not really doing much. It is, kind of consolidating even a bit. Now, a couple things going on here. As far as the price action and stuff goes, I don't think we'll see any kind of major move just yet, because we can see the upper and lower Bollinger Bands closing in on the price, right, which is going to tighten the range and create some consolidation. And overall, we just have quite a bit of resistance over here, right? We have this $8.60 level. We have the previous uptrend line, which is going to act as resistance. And of course, just a lot of previous candlesticks here that are going to act as resistance as well. So I can kind of see some consolidation in this, more or less $8 range in the near future. But one thing that I do want to point out, which is bullish, is this, MACD that's starting to flatten out. and hook back over, right? We can see this even more clearly on the RSI that's really moving upwards here. So that's a good sign. Are we going to see a crossover, and then usually that's followed up by a big breakthrough in price as well in the near future? Maybe. It really depends. This could just be a bit of a temporary flattening, and then we might move lower like we did over here. So it is a little bit early to tell, but overall I do like how it's starting to hook back over. That's usually a good sign, and as we get closer and closer, we'll get a better idea if we're really going to get a crossover. That'll probably create a pretty strong move in price towards the upside. So that's definitely something that I'll be paying attention to as we move forward. But with that being said, everyone, this is the end of the daily crypto update. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another cryptocurrency video. I'm going to be talking about what I think is going on with the cryptocurrency market right now, what I think is in store for the future, and what I think is really happening right now as far as, kind of what's going on behind the scenes, what the big money is doing, what the smart investors are doing, what the whales are doing, and how that's going to affect the market prices in the next couple weeks / maybe even the next couple months. I hope it doesn't last that long, but it definitely could based on what I think is happening. And what I wanted to point out is I'm not, trying to create fear or anything like that. I have full interest in, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies doing well. So I'm not trying to scare anybody off. I'm just really reporting on what I think is happening here. And don't think that I'm trying to scare the market off or anything like that. That's not the case. I got called out for that in this video, and this video actually turned out kind of true. So that's not my goal at all, right? Now, I do want to give you a heads up, though, on what I think is happening, and I'll talk a little bit about, what's been going on with the jumping prices of Bitcoin, very volatile, Litecoin as well, Ethereum as well, and to give you like a quick rundown of what's been happening, Bitcoin broke above $10,000, Ethereum above 500, and Litecoin above 100. Now, Litecoin and Ethereum broke below those levels, and Bitcoin did dip, again back below 10,000, and now is hanging above it for now. But I do think it'll drop more, and that's very indicative of what I think is happening and what's to come. Because when we hit those big round numbers like that and break above them, what's supposed to happen is pretty much a full breakout where stuff moves even higher pretty quickly. Now, we did see that for Bitcoin, right? It moved above 11,000, but that didn't really hold that well, and we dipped all the way back down, below $9,000 even, which isn't a good sign, right? Normally, what's supposed to happen in the case of a pullback after a big round number breakout is maybe dipping back to 10,000 and then bouncing off that, but that didn't happen, right? It moved lower, which isn't a good sign. That's basically kind of a failed breakout, and it's even more, meaningful by the fact that this was a major moment for cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin especially, with that $10,000 mark. And you may have seen a lot of articles with headlines like this, right? So this is a Coindesk article. I'm just going to focus on the headline here. But it's basically, Bitcoin / cryptocurrencies facing their mainstream moment, right? Obviously, over the past couple of days, especially, the attention and focus on cryptocurrencies, I think, has probably been at one of its highest points ever, really, with this Bitcoin $10,000, a really significant milestone. And what I think is
growing global awareness that we have to act now is driving huge investment in new innovations focused on preserving our environment. Projects such as solar.
Milestone. And what I think is happening, I think that the mainstream moment is definitely kind of true. Now, basically, what's been going on, I think, is, especially over the past couple days, a lot of new investors, basically newcomers to the whole scene, saw all the hype around cryptocurrencies, saw Bitcoin, just flying sky high and not stopping, same with other cryptos, and put their money into it, right? Total beginners. So that's not to say that it was, not a smart move. It's just that a lot of new people in investing and trading kind of get in at the worst time possible, right? And that's just because, you may have seen the image of the kind of chart where you have the different cycles of the market, where it's basically like a depression and then euphoria all at the high where everyone is buying. That's kind of what's going on right now. And then it falling back down, and the cycle repeats itself where it goes back up and everything, right? I don't think that cryptocurrencies are done for anything like that, but I do think we're going to see a bit of a downtrend and pullback moving forward. So basically, that's what I think is happening is, for one, a lot of these sort of beginner investors and stuff like that, basically just average retail people that put some of their money into crypto, got in basically at the high, and all the smart, big players were basically selling off to them, right? This is a very common pattern in the stock market. It's seen time and time again, really. It's basically, buy low, sell high, sell the hype, and buy when no one wants to buy, right? So obviously, when people aren't really, aware of the whole market, are kind of new to this, they just kind of jump in without really knowing what's going on, while when the more experienced players are actually selling off to them at the highs, which is obviously kind of a smarter thing to do when you think about it, right? You're much better off getting in when there's a dip. So what's happening now is, I'm going back to the mainstream thing because this is important. A lot of people were talking about, and especially in my video over here, right? My Bitcoin drop video, definitely check that out if you want some more information. A lot of people were saying, Bitcoin isn't going to drop, it's only going to go higher now. And like I said, I'm not like bearish on Bitcoin long term. I do think it's going to go higher, but they were very, kind of optimistic about the fact that there was this big money coming in, big institutions, big investors, the futures that are coming up for Bitcoin and stuff like that, and basically kind of cryptocurrencies turning into the stock market in a way. The problem with that is that I don't think that a lot of those people realize what that means. That's not, the best sign overall. And you have to realize that the stock market is a pretty dirty playing field, right? There's quite a bit of manipulation that goes on and stuff like that. And if Bitcoin kind of goes more mainstream with, big players entering the market and stuff like that, the prices will have, very strategic cycles, I'm going to say, where the smarter, traders and investors really kind of play the retail and less experienced people for fools, where they'll get caught in bad positions and end up selling, basically panic selling and making all the wrong moves, right? So that's not what I want to see, but I think that the playing field is going to become more and more like that, where, if you're just kind of in this to try to make a quick buck and you're not really aware of the bigger picture and what's really happening, you're going to end up making all the wrong moves while, the big players, big institutions scoop up all the money. And that's pretty sad if that's really going to happen for cryptocurrencies. I'm not saying that it's fully going to become like that, but I do think that we're going to head a bit more towards that route with this more, institutional type money coming into play. And I do think you should all be aware of that possibility, because
the fish are eating. So should you, anak.
Thank you.
You're welcome, anak.
What does anak mean?
It means my child.
And I do think you should all be aware of that possibility, because it's going to change the playing field. And like I said, if you're just kind of playing around, you're probably going to get hurt pretty badly. I would say that at this point, holding on to cryptos is a pretty smart move. That's not financial advice. That's just my opinion. Personally, I'm going to hold most of my positions no matter what happens. If it starts dropping more and stuff like that, I'm just going to stand still. But a lot of people will fall for the fear and stuff and panic sell, get in at highs, and just kind of repeat bad patterns where they just end up losing money, right? Like I said, All the meanwhile, the smarter players will be dumping at the highs, making loads of money, and scooping back when it's low. And that's a pattern that always happens no matter what, but now even more so when there's going to be these more serious players in the market that know what they're doing versus, average retail investors and traders. So that's kind of what I see happening for, cryptocurrencies right now. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know if you agree with, this sort of institutional money that's going to come and kind of play around with the market and mess over, beginners basically and stuff like that. Very typical for newbies to jump in, at all-time highs, thinking that they're going to make a bunch of money, and what we see right after that, everything starting to dip back lower. Probably, bigger players dumping off their positions at the high, like I said. And right now, just to give you a little bit of information on what's happening, Bitcoin is still holding relatively steady, but a lot of the other cryptos are really took a hit here, down, easily 10, 15%. And like I said, based on what I expect on these bigger players, kind of moving the money around in smarter ways, we're probably going to see the market move much lower now. I don't want to try to scare too many people off or anything, but I do think that we're going to see a bit of a downtrend here. For Bitcoin, for example, we could start moving back towards some of these trend lines over here, and really the big players will probably create a scare where everybody will start selling, especially people who just jumped in. And then when we're nice and low, scoop everything back up, and everything is like normal again, where we're back to $10,000, $11, moving up to $15,000. This is a very common pattern, like I said, in the stock market and everything. And I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on what I think was going to happen. Let me know what you think of all of this. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, make sure to like and subscribe.
And I think we are live. Hey everyone, Crypto Hedge here with none other than the notorious Charlie Lee, the man with a plan, the creator of Litecoin, and ex-director of engineering for Coinbase. Thank you everyone that's tuning in. And also thank you, Charlie, for taking the time to tune in for today's stream.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to dive right in so that we can make the most out of the time that we have with you today. And the first topic of discussion I would like to cover is the current cryptocurrency politics and media. So I know recently we saw that you did an interview with CNBC, and there was a lot for the community to say about it. So from your interview with CNBC, people seem to dislike the fact that you said that there are only a few currency coins that will be utilized, and the rest are going to be fund tokens, namely like Dogecoin. So how would you reply to this to the community?
I think people were upset because I wasn't, so to speak, pumping Litecoin. I wasn't there to kind of say everyone should buy Litecoin. Litecoin is so much better than Bitcoin. People should take a look at it and actually buy some Litecoin. Yeah, because a lot of people are kind of investing in Litecoin as an investment and speculating on it. And being on live TV, if I just had said something to that effect,
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people would have probably paid more attention to Litecoin and bought more Litecoin. Yeah, I guess I could have done more of that, but I wasn't there to kind of just to pump Litecoin. I wasn't there to kind of just say Litecoin is so much better than Bitcoin. I was there to kind of explain to people why Litecoin exists, right? Why would you use Litecoin in addition to Bitcoin? And not just because, yeah, so I think no matter what I said, part of the community would be upset. But I will have more opportunities in the future, and I'm definitely learning from it. And I'll try to do a better job at it.
Absolutely. I know it's very uncomfortable. I was telling some of my viewers, I do talk a lot about you a lot on my channel, and I was just letting them know, there's a psychological component. It's very uncomfortable to go on live television where there's millions of people watching. So it's a lot different than just a one-on-one conversation. So,
yep.
So, and in results of that, how many different cryptocurrencies do you think personally, just in your opinion, are going to end up being utilized when the result of mass adoption does occur?
I think there will be, in terms of using it as like real store value, there won't be that many as used as store value, right? So in terms of like using it for, I mean, people will get overwhelmed if there's too many, right? Right now there are just way too many. Like there's a lot of speculators, right? So speculators are okay with putting money in all these different assets, just like how you would buy like tens of stocks or even hundreds of stocks with your portfolio. So in terms of actually making use of it, there won't be that many that will actually be useful. Like, I don't see why we need a separate token or separate coin for every little thing that's different, right? A coin for gaming, a coin for just everything. I don't see why there's a need for that. So my vision is that with like Lightning Network or something similar, and like a good UI around it, you wouldn't need to know, like you wouldn't need to hold all these tokens, all these coins. You could just hold all your money in Bitcoin or Litecoin. And when you need to, if there is for some reason an application that requires Ether or some other token, you can easily atomically convert it on the fly to the token that you need.
Okay.
Just like how people don't have like barrels of gasoline in their house, barrels of oil for their cars, right? If they need it, they'll go to a gas station and buy it with US dollar or whatever currency they prefer, right? There's no reason for people to invest in crude oil prices just because they own a car. So same thing in the future for cryptocurrency in that sense, where you wouldn't need to own Ether unless you're running an application, a decentralized application, and you need some to kind of to power it, right? You can store the vast majority of your money in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So you said, what did you say? You said, you basically said that store of value coins and some coins are not going to be store of value. So do you look at, I know Bitcoin is known as the gold standard coin, and do you think Litecoin's also going to be like a store of value coin?
I think Litecoin is finding a different kind of different niche with respect to like store value versus payments. So Bitcoin will always be the gold standard because Bitcoin will have the strongest network, the most secure, the most money mining it and keeping Bitcoin secure.
Mm-hmm.
Litecoin will be second to that, and Bitcoin being the most secure, it would obviously cost more to do a Bitcoin transaction, and to doing a Litecoin